Welcome, everyone. I'm now calling this meeting to order. Please stand with us. We'll be led in prayer by Alderman Gallagher. Please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance that will be led by Alderman Payne.
Heavenly Father, Lord, thank you for your blessings on this meeting, Lord. Lord, we thank you for dying on the cross for us, Lord. Thank you for allowing us to worship you in a country that will allow us to do that, Lord. We just pray your blessings on tonight's meeting. In your name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First on the agenda this evening is approval of minutes for the, we have two to approve. The first one is the minutes on March 19, 2019.
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve the minutes of the regular meeting of March 19th, 2019 with any additions, deletions, or corrections.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Brooks. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks?
Yes.
Alderman Kelly?
Yes.
Alderman Payne?
Yes.
Alderman Payne?
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher?
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler?
Yes.
Alderman Flores?
Yes.
That motion carries. Next, is there a motion to approve the minutes for the special meeting on March 20, 2019?
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve the minutes of the special meeting on March 20th, 2019.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Gallagher. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks?
Yes.
Alderman Kelly?
Yes.
Alderman Payne?
Yes.
Alderman Payne?
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher?
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler?
Yes.
Alderman Flores?
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda is the sole source approval for the Southaven Fire Department. Chief Danny Scally.
Good evening, Mayor, Board. This sole source purchase is for Stations 1, Stations 2's climate event diesel exhaust extraction systems. As you recall, we had a grant that put those in Station 3 and 4, but Station 1 and 2 didn't qualify for the grant purchase. These are budgeted funds. The total cost is $96,800. Like I said, this is funds that's been budgeted in the Fire Department FY19 budget.
Mr. Mayor, I move we adopt a resolution authorizing single source item purchase by the Southaven Fire Department. Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Kelly. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks?
Yes.
Alderman Kelly?
Yes.
Alderman Payne?
Yes.
Alderman Payne?
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher?
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler?
Yes.
Alderman Flores?
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda is a copier contract with R.J. Young and the Southaven Fire Department as well.
This is Fire Department admins updating their copier and entering a contract with R.J. Young, service contract.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we enter a contract with R.J. Young as presented.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Brooks, second by Alderman Hoots. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Ayes have it, motion carries. Thank you, sir. Next on the agenda is a resolution to claim private property.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we adopt a resolution granting authority to claim private property as presented on this date.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Brooks, second by Alderman Payne. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, is there anyone in the audience that has a financial interest in any of the properties that would like to speak? Hearing or seeing none, roll call please.
Alderman Brooks?
Yes.
Alderman Kelly?
Yes.
Alderman Hoots?
Yes.
Alderman Payne?
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher?
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler?
Yes.
Alderman Flores?
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda is our planning agenda. Ms. Whitney Cook.
Yes, sir. Our first application is actually on behalf of the City of Southaven, and it is a request to further revise Lot 2 of the Lots 1 and 2 Bob White Commercial Subdivision. This is going to be on the north side of May Boulevard on the east side of Getwell Road, and to further familiarize you with this, it is the lot where the East Precinct, Fire Station number 4, and the Parks Maintenance Shop is. Currently, the lot is 5.25 acres. The request is to remove the Parks Maintenance Shop, which is on the hard corner of Snowden Lane and May Boulevard. Take that 1.5 acres out and decrease the lot to 3.75 acres and leave that 1.5 acres out as its own parcel of property. It won't do anything other than that. It will leave all the buildings on the property. It won't do anything to May Boulevard or Snowden Lane. Both have their existing right-of-ways to remain. It is compliant with the subdivision regulations. The only thing that we have to do with the plat, which was not addressed in the initial subdivision drawings, were that according to the subdivision regulations, any affected property owners, which is defined as those lots across the street from the area being revised and those lots immediately adjacent to the lots being revised, must be identified with certificates of ownership and mortgagee ownerships on the plat, and they have to be signed before we record those plats. So we will have that addressed on the Mylars prior to getting it platted. It is compliant with everything else, and like I said, it's on behalf of the City of Southaven, so we're not putting a recommendation on it, but we can tell you that it is compliant with subdivision regulations.
Mr. Mayor, make a motion to approve item number 1 on the planning agenda.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Wheeler, second by Alderman Brooks. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries.
The next application is the second mixed-use building associated with Silo Square Development. This is going to be lot 17, which is going to be directly across future May Boulevard from the lot 16 that was already approved. It's going to be on the south side, so if you're looking at the commercial use area right there, it's going to be right where the lovely mouse is circling right there, just behind the front out parcel. And if you can go up one drawing for me. There is the new building proposed. 3 stories. You have your loft setting on top. You have commercial storefronts on the bottom. We do have samples of the brick here if you'd like to look at those. But it's a mixture of brick materials. It's a mixture of color materials, bronze and black for your outdoor patio settings, and for your canopies. Has a very Main Street appeal to it. It does have a lot of similarities to Lot 16, which was approved back in October. One of the main differences is you do have a roof line parapet that has a bigger arch down that center point, which he's using for this building. Other than that, it's almost identical to the one across the street from it, so it's keeping in character with what we approved, going right along with what the overall PUD wanted for the Main Street feel on this. We had a few adjustments to the photometric plans on it to keep the acorn lighting, the Main Street lighting appeal on it. But otherwise than that, it was approved unanimously by the Planning Commission.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we approve item number 2 on the planning agenda as presented tonight.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Flores, second by Alderman Hoops. Is there any discussion on item 2?
What about elevators?
There are elevators in all the 3-story structures he's putting on the sites.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries.
Item number 3 is across the street from here in the Guarantee Bank subdivision, which is going to be the hard corner of Nail Road and Getwell Road. If you'll remember, we approved the Guarantee Bank itself on the hard corner of Nail and Getwell. It's going to be a lot just north of that, and this is also a 3-story mixed-use development, but this is an office building, a 3-story office building. The bottom floor has got boutique storefronts and a restaurant on the north end adjacent to our Springfest site. So it is actually adjacent to the white fencing that we have for the amphitheater. Has outdoor seating on there. The top 2 stories are for office, and there is a rooftop patio that is private for the office settings on the 3rd floor. They're also doing a green roof appeal to it, so there will be greenery that may climb down the sides of it. They designed this after some Birmingham and Chicago type setting, like a warehouse rebuild design, so it has a feel of that. It is white brick, it has bronze and black exterior accent to it. It's pulled all the way up to the road, there's no parking in the front, there's no parking on the sides, it's all in the rear. Shares an access drive with Guarantee Bank, and Guarantee Bank, if you will remember, is pulled all the way to the front of the street as well. So the character is going in line with it also. They're also carrying the Acorn lighting to keep continuous flow with that. We made some adjustments on, like I said, the live roof materials, because it's the first one we've done. So we made some adjustments with that, we made some adjustments with the lighting on it. They are submitting a little redesign on the trellis and the outdoor seating area, but otherwise than that, Planning Commission voted unanimously in favor of this one as well.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion we approve item number 3 on the planning agenda.
Second.
On item 3, have a motion by Alderman Wheeler, second by Alderman Flores. I'll start the discussion by just saying this is exactly what the long-range plan is for this area.
Right.
You know, to give it more of an urban appeal, you know, not the same old boring architecture that we've had in the city for the last 40 years. This is something that's going to change the look of our city. It's going to give that urban feel, look more like a, you know, a New Orleans, you know, some of the classic downtown areas you mentioned. Which city did you mention?
They based this one out of, there's some area rebuilt around Birmingham that is around their ball fields, and also out of Chicago. is where
Right,
they
a
based
lot of
it
the
out
old ballpark areas, you know, Baltimore, Boston, a lot of them have done the same thing. It totally changes the area. So I just want to go on the record as saying that this is this type of advancement and a different style of development and architecture will change our city for the better. And I'm proud to see this development occur.
And where is this going again?
This will be, it is actually directly adjacent to our Springfest site. If you're at Nail and Getwell, you're gonna be on the northeast corner. The hard corner is where the bank is, and there's a lot, it was 2 lots we approved right there. So the bank has the hard corner, and this is going to be directly north of there. So it will be adjacent to Springfest and the Snowden House on both the east and their north side. So they have a private patio up top with their live roof, so they can watch the concerts and Springfest there. And they have outdoor public seating for their restaurant on the north end, so they can watch, you know, and see the concerts and whatever they have going on there as well.
So the north side of the street, right? Is that what you're saying?
It'll be, the patio setting will be on the north side of the building.
When you enter Springfest from Getwell,
Right.
where you enter right there where the fence is, right next to that, right there.
Right, there you go. See, there's our gate that opens where people bring their trailers in to get set up for Springfest.
Right.
You can see they've got a tree line right there that they're putting some larger hardwoods to create shade and to kind of put a screen between the fence there. Where you see that white and where those, I guess you can see the little squares there, that's where their patio setup is.
You remember where the big white tent is at Springfest?
Mhm.
That's the side right
Okay, gotcha.
there. Right across the fence, that's right.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Burke.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Cruz.
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
No motion carries. Thank you.
Mayor, before we go, can I ask Whitney a question?
Sure.
Whitney, is there anything we can do about, we got a lot of signs over in the west end over here that have been broken out or blown out, or like Big Lots is faded out? Is there anything the city can do about having those property owners fix those things?
We've been working on that for 6 years, and we have had some removed, like the old building that's a market now, that used to be Deposit Guarantee Bank. I personally went in and asked them if they would remove it. I don't know if you remember that, but there was a vacant sign there that was there for at least 10 years. I went in there and asked them to remove it. They did. We had the sign removed here that used to be an old Exxon sign from back in the 1970s. It had the panels broken out for at least 15 years. We went to the property owners there and worked with them. They also removed that sign, took it down. So we, throughout the original part of our city, we've been working on that. So I appreciate the question. What we've run into is per sign ordinance, unless they are changing their sign, we can't force them to go and change the panels.
Right, if it's a non-compliant sign, like a pole sign or something we don't allow any longer, the only way that they can replace it as is that an act of God, a storm or something has taken it out. Then we can allow them to replace it and clean up those panels there. We can't force them to come into compliance with what our requires now with the monument bays. We can go in there and ask them nicely. A lot of times they will try to comply. A lot of times they look at us and say, that's really expensive, we can't afford it, and how can you make us do that? And we have to be honest with them, so we can't, we're trying to just clean up this part of town, we can't make you, we're just asking you to work with us. You know, we've been working with our property
What's
owners
that?
just to the north, Fred's. We've been working with Fred's for quite a bit, and
I did meet with the
They don't
CEO
work
of
with
Fred's,
us.
one day on site, to ask them to remove the Fred sign because it's old, it's faded, it's not even their logo anymore, it's not their corporate colors. And I understand that there's some other issues going on for the reason they couldn't do that, but we've been reaching out trying to get that done. We want to improve the look of our original business district. You reminded me of one other thing, and you know, you shouldn't speak up if you don't want somebody to give you a job, someone will give you a job, okay? Or I'm gonna ask for your help. The sign that's on 51 that used to be the old Fun Time Skate Land years ago, where there's a bowling alley and a skating rink. They have a huge sign there that has broken out panels there. Could you help us? Would you reach out?
I'll try. I don't know how much headway they got.
Yeah, but that's all we can do, is to answer, not to answer for Whitney, but that's basically all we can do is ask. If they're not changing, if they change the sign, we can bring it into compliance. But if they're not changing the sign, basically, we're just asking them. So, if you know anyone.
Can they put panels in there that are not there now, or that?
no, and I mean, if it's a pole sign that's sitting there without panels in it, it's
Right.
just a vacant sign, by ordinance, they can't just go place new panels in it. They have to remove it, and then they can place a new compliance sign. What we're asking them to do, like the one he's speaking of, is to remove it. Just
Gotcha.
get it, it serves no purpose there except being a.
It's an eyesore.
Yeah. What about like big lots that their signs faded out? If they put a new panel in there, they got to replace the sign? Is that how
I mean,
it
by
works?
ordinance, yes.
Okay.
Now, we are in a revitalization zone. It may be something we could look at from an ordinance committee standpoint, that maybe should be some flexibility, but right now, by ordinance, it says that you go in and alter it in any other way, except because of a storm taking it out, that you have to become compliant.
Okay. It seems kind of counterproductive to not let them change a faded sign out. I mean, I understand it's not, the sign's not.
I agree. The problem you run into there is you have people on the other side of town arguing, and going, okay, well, they get to replace this, and, you know, because we're over here, then, you know, we have to put in a new sign, because we're a new building, and we have to put in this expensive sign, so I want to put something like that up. And we say, no, you can't put a new sign up like that, but you can replace the panel on this side. Like I said, it's something we can look at. It's just in the ordinance right now, there's no leniency there. This is what it says you have to do. I'm not saying that we'd be against that. I mean, if you're trying to go through a revitalization area, and you may want to provide that flexibility. It's something we've talked about. It's just not in the books now. You know, if the board so chooses to make that available to them, and we'd be more than happy to give them that leniency.
And I don't disagree with what you say. I understand your point. The only thing I would add to that, though, is that's the whole point of having a different ordinance, is to bring things to where they should be now. So if you're not requiring them to do that, you're not really
Giving them an
confident.
extension on keeping them.
Right, you're giving them an incentive not to come into compliance.
Yeah, still looks crappy.
I agree.
Take it down.
So that's your assignment, Alderman.
So we can't make them take them down?
No.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay.
But we can, hey, I'm all about it. I'd like to know how many hours I've spent in sign ordinance meetings during my career here, so one more is not gonna hurt. Set it up.
Thank you, Woody.
Thank you, Whitney. Okay, moving on to mayor's report. A couple of issues here. First thing, just want to update everyone. We've had some major problems with the skate park in our city that's located off Rasco. And Alderman Kelly has received numerous contacts from local residents regarding the, I don't want to say criminal activity, but activity. Vandalism, profanity, to the point to where we have to eventually make a decision. Are we going to continue to go back and repair something that our own citizens continue to destroy? And this skate park has become a location for a lot of loitering. It's not, it's obviously designed to be a place where people can skate. It's become obvious that that's not the major function of it anymore. It's a place where a lot of, I guess I'll use the word lewd behavior goes on, and continuous vandalism. So after, being patient with this decision, listening to this for several months, we're to the point now where I'm recommending that we remove this park. And so talked to Wes Brown, he's in agreement. Police chief understands the behavior that's going on there as well. So it's my recommendation tonight that we surplus the property that's there. It was put there in 2006. Now it has been 100% depreciated, so it has no value other than for scrap metal. So I'm asking the board for a motion to surplus the skate park, and we're going to end the skate park.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, we got a motion by Alderman Kelly. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Hoots. Is there any discussion?
How about turning it into a dog park? Put some fences up.
Well, that's a possibility. We discussed, how we would use it. We didn't know exactly how, but that's an idea we could certainly entertain.
We have parks meeting.
That part's amazing. So we can do that, but again, as I told our Parks Director this morning, I'm always hesitant to take away something that provides an avenue for our youth to give them productive things to do. So I had some heartburn about that. But then you have to weigh the negatives with it, and eventually, when it comes to this, where we're spending repetitive taxpayer dollars to clean the profanity and all the other things that are going on there, we have to make a decision. And we expect our citizens to help us with that. We can't put armed guards at our parks. We have to make a business decision eventually, and we're to that point with the skate park.
It's just become a detriment to the community.
Yes, and the residents that live near there are dealing with a lot of nuisance, with that,
So
so.
I'm assuming you and Alderman Kelly have been getting contacts with local residents.
I've not actually, lately, I've not, but I don't want to speak for Alderman Kelly.
Yeah, I mean, as short as maybe a month ago, especially around 11 midnight.
What a shame, what a shame.
Well, and some of the profanity, not to get into detail, I'll just leave it at that. It's not what you would normally see at a park. It's some things that have been written there that I've not seen before, so.
Make a sailor blush.
That's a good way to describe it. Okay, is there any other discussion or questions about that? So the motion is to surplus the property and end the skate park. We had a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none. Roll call, please.
Alderman Rhodes?
Yes.
Alderman Kelly?
Yes.
Alderman Hoots?
Yes.
Alderman Taylor?
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher?
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler?
Yes.
Alderman Flores?
Yes.
That motion carries. The next issue I want to talk to you about, as y'all know from the last 60 days, I think it's safe to say that probably every elected official in this county has learned something about annexation. I know I have. The proposed annexation bill that we talked about at the last meeting did die. So that is over. The session's over. The bill died. It was a horrible bill. And it's dead. Thank goodness. But anyway, it taught us some things to look at our city operation. By state law, we have the right to extend public services utility lines within a mile of city limits. And we've done that in the past. And not to speak for anyone before me, but it makes business sense to understand that they did that with the assumption that eventually it would be an annexation, it would be a part of the city. And so we're continuing to do that. But it's my recommendation, I talked to Nick about it, talked to Ray Humphrey, our utilities director. I just believe that there should be board action before we do that. I think that y'all should be the one that makes the decision, do we want to extend or own utility lines that are outside our city? I do think that we should do that with the assumption that there will be a future annexation. Otherwise, I don't think that's fair to our existing taxpayers. But we have a few subdivisions that are just on the outskirts of Southaven, in the southeastern part of the city, that it's no secret. I mean, it's no secret in the comprehensive plan there's going to be a request for annexation. It's not a large land grab. It's like I've said many times, all annexations are not the same. These are small areas, but it makes sense that they would eventually be in Southaven. They're just little pockets of land between Hernando and Southaven and Olive Branch that will make sense to be Southaven. Well, a few of these are already getting their water and sewer service from Southaven. That's already been done in the past. But we have a new one that's at Star Landing and Getwell, Williams Ridge. And they are in the process now of putting in water and sewer lines, but they need the City of Southaven. They got to be hooked up to our water and sewer. But I just think that I do advocate for that, and that's what I'm going to ask you for tonight. But I think there always needs to be board action, and they need to have an approval from the city in advance if they're going to go to the county and ask, to have their subdivision approved. I don't think you should approve anything without knowing that they've got the basic amenities, to build homes there. In all fairness to the county, I think there was some miscommunication. I think the county assumed that the city had already done that, but we had not. So for tonight and any future situations like this, I recommend that we have board action. So I'm going to ask someone to make a motion. I'm going to give it to whoever, if someone will agree to do that, I'm going to give you the way it should be worded for Nick. But basically what this is doing is just authorizing Williams Ridge, it's a utility agreement for them to hook up to water and sewer for the City of Southaven. And then we've also got to give them right-of-way permits because they've got to do some work along Star Landing Road to hook up to sewer, because it's not right there at Getwell. You've got to go a little bit further west towards the curve on Star Landing to hook up. So they will be working in our right-of-way to hook up. So is there someone that would make that motion?
Mr. Mayor, make the motion to authorize the city to provide utility service to Williams Ridge subdivision as Williams Ridge subdivision within the city's certified area. Authorize city to provide any required right-of-way permits needed by developers of Williams Ridge for infrastructure construction, and authorize the mayor and/or his designee to sign any and all documents for providing any utility service and take any and all action to effectuate the intent of this motion.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Brooks, second by Alderman Flores. Is there any further discussion?
We get tap fees for that?
Tap fee, well, they'll be paying for monthly service, but is Ray, are there
I didn't hear the question.
are there tap fees?
They will pay tap fees.
Okay.
To us?
To us?
Yes.
And then one other stipulation that'll be in the agreement, it was brought to my attention by Ray, and I appreciate that in the past, some of these areas that require a pump station for sewer, that they would attempt to save money, so they would put a cheaper a pump station that doesn't meet our standards, which eventually, we own that. So any kind of maintenance and future replacement, that's at a city expense. So in the agreement, we're going to require that the pump station be up to City of Southaven standards.
Along with all the equipment, right?
Yes, yeah. And we did get some input after the fact about the sewer lines, where they were located, that kind of thing would be conducive to us servicing it in the future, so that's already been done.
Where is this subdivision exactly?
It's right there where when you're on Star Landing going east, you dead end into Getwell, right there.
Right there.
Primary
Yeah.
school, close.
So it's right, I know where it's at.
Yeah,
It's on the east side.
yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay, so is there any other discussion about that? And again, my last point, and just to further drive that dagger home, we don't need annexation that prevents us from being able to work together with the county and developers that want to build a nice subdivision. We don't need annexation that prevents that. So with this bill dying, now I feel comfortable, at least for 1 year, that we can go ahead and do this. But all annexations are not the same. Okay. Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Hughes.
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Miller.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Okay, next on the agenda is our citizens agenda. We did not have anyone that signed up, but we still welcome anyone that's in the audience who would like to speak. Please come forward to the podium and announce your name. Is there anyone that would like to speak on the citizens agenda? Okay, seeing or hearing none, we'll move on. Next on the agenda is our personnel docket.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve the personnel documents presented on this date.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Brooks, second by Alderman Wheeler. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Hughes.
Yes.
Alderman
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher?
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler?
Yes.
Alderman Flores?
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda is our city attorney's legal update. Mr. Nick Manley.
Got a couple of things tonight. First, just to give you an update on the small cell ordinance. At the next meeting, I'll bring you that for approval for the board. It's the ordinance that will govern the small cells for the 5G in Southaven. The mayor mentioned in the last board meeting. Before the next meeting, I will send an email to everyone so you can have a chance to review the ordinance. It's quite in-depth. But just to give you an update on that, we'll have that presented at the next board meeting, and we'll get that to you beforehand so you can have a chance to review it. And then also tonight, a couple things came in late, so we're going to get those tonight on the agenda. First, the resolution to authorize the city to contribute to the Salute to Industry DeSoto Economic Council tournament that we do every year. There's a resolution for that, so authorization for the mayor to sign that resolution. I think the donation would be $700 for the Salute to Industry tournament for the DeSoto Economic Council pursuant to 21-1944 and your local and private legislation under the House bill from 1992.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Flores, second by Alderman Wheeler. Is there any discussion? And if anyone wants to play too, let Christy know if you want to play, represent the city. Except, everybody except Joel, he can.
Joel thinks it's football.
Okay, with no other discussion, roll call please.
Alderman Brooks?
Yes.
Alderman Kelly?
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Payne?
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher?
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler?
Yes.
Alderman Flores?
Yes.
That motion carries.
Next is the contract that we've done the last couple of years with Wildcat Cheer for the Spring Fest that assists with beverage services. Authorization for the mayor to sign that contract for Spring Fest with the Wildcat Cheer organization.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Brooks, second by Alderman Payne. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks?
Yes.
Alderman Kelly?
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Payne?
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher?
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler?
Yes.
Alderman Flores?
Yes.
That motion carries.
And the last one just got brought up this afternoon is the same, it's a printer for, our contract for printer with RJ Young for the Parks Department. Authorization for West Brown to sign that contract with RJ Young. They've made the changes, our standard changes their contract, and authorization for West Brown to sign that contract with RJ Young for the printer.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Wheeler, second by Alderman Flores. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Ayes have it, motion carries. Thank you. All right, next on the agenda is utility bill adjustment docket.
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve the utility bill adjustment docket as presented on the stand.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Kelly. Is there any discussion?
That last one?
How bad is something leaking? That's what I'm saying.
That last one, massive.
Must be in there.
Hey, Ray, what was going on with that last one?
You know, I don't have the exact information for those, but I can get it for you. I apologize.
No, you're fine. I mean, I just noticed that. I mean, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
That's a big leak. No, I'm good.
I've seen them before where people had a leak.
I mean, is the house vacant? I mean,
Well, it could be a situation like that, or maybe it's in a bathroom that's not used frequently. And
I
then
think it was broke out in the yard.
Yeah, this is service line.
that's a service line.
Yeah.
The house is probably
It been a long
vacant.
time before they noticed it or something.
yeah, that is a lot of money
I mean, it's a lot of water.
Yeah.
Imagine how they felt when they got their
I
bill.
mean, what'd you do?
that
Step out,
next
and you wake up, there's a swamp in your front yard?
Yeah, it does say service line. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks?
Yes.
Alderman Kelly?
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Payne?
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher?
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler?
Yes.
Alderman Flores?
Yes.
That motion carries. All right, next on the agenda is claims dockets. Is there a motion to approve docket 1?
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve docket number 1 in the amount of $498.88, including demand checks.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Flores. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Page.
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Is there a motion to approve docket 2?
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve docket number 2 in the amount of $16,445.63.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Flores. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Is there a motion to determine the need for executive session?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Gallagher, second by Alderman Brooks. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Ayes have it. The need this evening is claims and litigation against the Southaven Police Department and infrastructure, personnel in our ITech department, and economic development with potential business and industry locating to our city. So is there a motion to declare executive session?
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Kelly, second by Alderman Hoots. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Ayes have it, motion carries. The mayor and board will now enter executive session.
Good, sir. How are you? Well, yourself? I'm doing pretty good.